Right. I don't have much in the way of a preamble, so why don't we start with a recap?
Stays cursed, but it's probably fixed now.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that was the great bulk of last game.
Turning Dom up.
A little bit. Um, yeah. We opened on game with people having their respective evening things. Alistair read a book and totally lost track of time. But in no uncertain terms, the specific dangers of the Palantir um, were made more aware to him. He didn't really seem to understand just how dangerous it was until he read it from the perspective of Argyle Tall. Though he found no information about it being cursed, he did learn some other creepy information about just Tall in general and what his studies were up to.
Creepy guy.
Creepy guy. A little bit of insight into the Forsaken, um, their whole shebang. Um, during all this time and like reading and losing time and people doing their own things, Say broke off from the party early, bringing Elaine with her as the Predator, now the Queen's Gambit, had arrived at the refuge. So, parachuting down and dimension dooring mid parachute, a whole bunch of concern was happening in town. More or less, it looked to be evacuated, or people seemed to be holed up elsewhere. It eventually dawned upon Say and Elaine that, oh, they kind of came here in a warship unannounced, and Say rushed off to massage matters with the Windrunners who are currently protecting the city. Town? Village? Whatever. There's windmills, there's people. Sometime during this, the rest of the party converged with breakfast and discussed matters of the Palantir and Say's situation, more or less committing to going through with the plan to use Greater Restoration and remove a curse if there is a curse. They later found out that Say was already on the ground. Say was catching up with Vera, and we interrupted that. Taliesin made it in no uncertain terms that this was not his doing. And we called for a group meeting in the archives below the community center of the refuge.
I believe you wanted a group meeting in a private place, and after reconvening with Taro and everyone on the ground, he led you to the archives.
That checks out. So we had most of the sages that we know, all of the sages that we know, in fact, Say and the party and Mirai, and I don't know who else, all down there discussing matters. Alistair freaked out a bit. Say was pretty cool about it. And after presenting the danger to her, Say seemed to hesitate at the idea of putting the ball in the bag. And I think that's when Kanani made contact and used the stored spell that Taliesin had given her to greater restore her, which resulted in a splitting headache and some really bad vibes, if I recall correctly. After the curse was blurst and the ball was in the bag, a lingering sensation of paranoia drew Alistair to pulling out the Lantern of Revealing, discovering that there was indeed ethereal orb scrying upon them. Several people threw out Dispel Magic at once to dispel the thing that was watching them. We ended shortly after that. Say was left to reclaim what was left of her not date, while the others were tasked with gathering those who were intended to go to the Fort Valor / Kaladesh.
I believe there was one more note for Alistair worth mentioning that occurred in the archives.
Yeah, Taro had a book in. Actually, I have to write down an extra note. It was a book in Ancient Common, like a really, really old common that seemed to have influences of different languages in its iconography and glyphs. There is a symbol of a circle surrounded by a halo of spokes. And Taro had some interest in figuring out just what this book was all about.
And Mirai was the one who noted that it was ancient common and that she could totally assist with translating it. It was just going to take time.
Yes, great note.
And that common was ancient when Mirai knew it.
Indeed.
Like, she wasn't saying it's ancient in regards to the time she knows she's in now. She was saying it was ancient in the time that she came from. So, very, very ancient. And that piqued Taro's interest a little bit, from what I recall.
So this book was written around the time that they invented dirt.
Or rather, invented a name for dirt.
No, they invented dirt. It was rocks before then.
I mean, it just happened to be around the same time that gigantic tower that we're in was, created and everything. The usual.
And Taro also asked to see if he could peruse Argoltal's journal as well, hoping to find some connection between the two books.
I didn't hear it, but wow, brain function. Alistair did not actually get a long rest that night. He had started investigating Argoltal's book, and it felt like it was only a couple hours to him, but it was actually the whole fucking night that he was reading that book.
Sometimes you get lost in a good read. Also, he has a girlfriend now. He doesn't get to rest.
Sometimes a good read gets lost in you. All right, that's a pretty good recap of what happened last game. Say, would you like to recap some high points from the side story that took place between games?
Yeah, so Say was real shaken and beating herself up after finding out she's been cursed and been scryed on and basically been used. Vera talked her down from a ledge. Both of them admitted they're really not good at the feelings thing, but are trying. They're trying real hard. And yeah, Vera kind of talked Say out of her panic and back to like a more calm place.
Yeah, that's good insight into that conversation. Do you recall Say's hands? Were they noted during the game, or was it only in the forum thread?
It was subtly noted during the game. Sei is basically almost always wearing gloves. She just happened to not be right now, cause she was getting into relax mode. But yeah, her hands are still black.
Yeah, it has not been remarked on by the group yet, but her hands, her fingers definitely look stained.
It's probably fine.
Right, and I think that is enough to bring us into today's game, where we pick up shortly after Say and Vera left to see what everyone is up to while in the refuge. As is kind of their way, whenever a big event happens, they put on a great big feast in the main hall. And you guys do have access to a broad refuge breakfast today.
These guys party when they're having a good time. They party after they think they're being attacked. They're just here to party.
They've got a real appreciation for the little things in life.
I think Alistair's going to find himself at the table at this breakfast. Just kind of. Well, he hasn't slept, so he's probably starting to feel just a little bit woozy after the day's events. They've already had breakfast, so I think he's just going to hang out. And I know there was mention of Taro wanting that book. I don't know if he wants to actively pursue that or come back around to it after doing his own research.
Oh, he definitely made it clear that he wanted to do it in tandem, since he feels that I suppose he would elaborate this more to you. That Argyltal's book provides insight into the Eldritch Tower and its effects in the current day, and it could lead to some ideas of what to look for as they're translating the book, the older book.
Okay.
Signs,
That checks
keywords, anything that might link the two together.
In that case, Alistair's going to end up following his lead. He's kind of punchy, but he can still do what he needs to do. He's not yet exhausted.
Yet.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I think we also have to collect Drummond. Out of character, in character. I know we have to collect some people to meet at the Lord's Alliance. Did we plan to pick up, like, local artisans for any reason? Like, was it this to be a short trip with a small number of people collected?
I believe it was just to pick up someone who would be happy to serve as a representative on the council, as well as our allies.
That sounds like Say's wheelhouse to talk that up. Unless Say is not feeling like being Say.
She'll get there.
Okay.
Once her conversation with Vera is over, she's actually probably. Our conversation went really well, so she'll probably be okay to move into business mode.
Hell yeah. Then he's going to trust in the plan. Trust that Say is indeed Say, and we'll get the thing done, and they will talk about feelings later if that's what they want to do.
Sounds good. So I think Say's conversation, since it went pretty well, I think it would probably be an hour before she and Vera would probably head back. Just to round things out, is there anything anyone would like to attend to in the immediate aftermath of that conversation in the archives? As y'all head upstairs to eat some breakfast. And if not, that's perfectly fine too. There's a lot of time ahead of you. I just want to make sure I don't skip over anyone. All right, cool.
Sorry, I was like pointing something out to Rob.
Yeah.
Was Jaeger, that's his name. Would look for say try to get and just touch base with her.
Okay. Jaeger, since Vera and Say left together into town, give me a. I want to see if you can track them down. Um, Tracking's normally a survival skill.
All right. 24.
24. All right. I'm going to say that after you head out from the hall a few minutes after Vera and Say left, you head into town. You do catch glimpses of them until they disappear down an alley. And when you follow them down the alley, you arrive just in time to see Say kind of disappearing onto a roof with Vera beside her, and the two of them kind of ducking out of sight.
Well, he's already like interrupted them before, so seeing that they're going out of their way to like just get out of sight, um, he'll wait till later to talk to her.
Okay, do you want to kind of hang around in town, wander a bit, and just keep tabs on them, or will you be retreating back to the main hall?
He's gonna like trail this, like see if they actually. So, because I haven't read the thread,
Yeah.
so if they like retreat to like quote unquote a room or something like that, like absolute privacy, um, or if they're just like out in the open. Yeah, if they're out in the open, he'll approach. But if they like actually seek, a closed off space to be together, then he'll just like go away, go back.
All right, I would say that just by kind of hanging around and circling around the buildings, you do see that they've taken up a spot on the rooftops and are having a quiet conversation with one another. You do, after about if you kind of linger in town, after about a half hour, or half hour, 45 minutes, when they make their way down, you can approach them on their way back to the meeting hall, if you like.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Cool. We'll shift into that gear then, as Say and Vera's conversation kind of winds up a little bit, and Say feels a little more comfortable and at peace with what's been going on. Vera raises the consideration that they should probably check back in with the others, since they're probably concerned about, Say, heading out immediately after the whole decursing thing.
To be fair, my usual MO is to run away from all feelings whatsoever. So they might not be too concerned, but your point's noted. And Say will put her gloves and stuff back on.
Who would have ever guessed that you would be one to run away from feelings, eh? She says with that look in her eye that tells, yeah, she's being sarcastic.
Peas in a pod. Or pot kettle.
We have a similar saying in the Underdark. It is a little more descriptive, involving one of the creatures down there.
So I'll switch to Undercommon and say, well, you'll have to teach it to me.
She chuckles a little bit as she leads the way back down off the rooftop, whereas you're able to just kind of walk off the edge and down the wall. She does a little hut hopping down from ledge to ledge to get back down on the ground.
He's Jaeger would wait till like they're 30 seconds on the path, because he would have been kind enough to like be at least that far away, so he didn't like overhear that conversation.
Yeah, kind of like just outside of the alleyway as they emerge. You do stick out in the refuge, so they would see you immediately.
I don't know. He's been trailing them for half an hour. They didn't hide away too hard. They didn't know he was there.
Bold of you to assume they didn't know he was there.
I kind of want to roll a react stealth check.
Roll high. You absolutely need to roll very high.
So that's 20.
Holy shit! Does that count, DM?
All things considered, I think that plays into the way the thread went pretty well.
Fuck this game.
So Jaeger's just hiding behind the potted plant.
As he do.
It's Prickly Bitch. He's hiding behind Prickly Bitch.
So yeah, he'll approach when they're like on the way.
Talos, Jaeger, you came out of nowhere.
Sorry, it's one of my many skills.
How does one as large as you hide behind something as small as that plant so effectively?
One of my many, many skills. Honestly, I just wanted to make sure you were okay, Faye. I kind of been following you just to make sure that you two were okay, but I wanted to touch base and then he like lifts his hands.
That's appreciated. Actually, I'm doing all right. A good conversation helped.
Don't worry, I was well far enough away to not hear any of it. He approaches closer. But yes, your hands. Are they still as they were?
They are. That might be permanent. I plan on checking in with Healer Drummond, and I've talked to him about the meeting anyway, so I figured I'd mention my hands while I was there.
Okay, well, I know I'm not a magician of any sort, but if there's anything I can do to help, please let me know.
I shall.
Well, it looks like you two were heading back. If that's the case, I'll come with. If you plan to go somewhere else, I promise to just go back and not follow you anymore.
Oh, we were planning on heading back. Vera mentioned people might be concerned about me.
Ergo, here I am.
Perhaps you could teach us to be as stealthy as you on the way back to the... Wow, I'm blending accents there. On the way back to the main hall? A demonstration might be in order?
Sure thing. We'll see if you can track me as I follow behind you.
I would much rather prefer to watch you as you engage in your techniques.
Are you afraid I'm gonna scare you?
Not in the slightest. But if you can hide behind a plant that small, I would very much like to learn how such a thing can be done so that I might do it on my own enemies.
Okay. Alright, so as they go along, there's a crowd, and Jaeger will just kind of try to blend in a little bit and slip away when there's just the, somebody laughing off to the side, which would kind of pull people's attention. I'm gonna roll a stealth.
So while you do kind of like hunch your shoulders and shrink down a little bit as you move through the crowd kind of naturally parts around you. So that even though you're not looming above everyone, people can still kind of follow your movements through the wake in the crowd.
But can Vera see me?
Oh, of course.
Damn it.
I had been hoping for something a little more instructive.
Well, I can't just tell you everything in a moment of a 5 minute walk and talk. Don't worry, we can go over things as we continue our journey.
I will hold you to that, Jäger. Boop, and you all reconvene back at the main hall. All right. In the main hall, a lot of the elders of the village, some of the most important people are there. Drummond is naturally in attendance, kind of roaming about, making sure that everyone is eating their fill and starting to discuss how they intend to replenish their stores once their visitors leave with the cooks. He doesn't seem too put out by it, but it's definitely on his mind. But all of Valor Company has now reconvened.
Jaeger greets everybody. How goes the fooding?
Fooding 2, Etheric Boogaloo.
And how are you? Did you manage to get a quick nap?
I think I've got things more or less locked down. I'll just take it easy until we can get back to those nice pillows back at the Queen's Gambit. They're quite good pillows.
You do seem significantly less panicked.
Well, yes. I was quite a bit worried about the situation, but after thinking about it and finding proper ways to distract myself about it, I think we're going to be okay.
I think so as well.
We will just have to change our plans.
I think we should continue at least to the point of making sure the Lord's Alliance goes off without a hitch. But I think we need to put in more safety precautions.
I think we can learn from the situation, certainly. I think you're right. I think abandoning the plan as it was would be a very reactive thing to do. If our enemy knows that we know, then they would expect us to pivot. I think with what resources we have amassed and our general unpredictability, doing what they expect us not to do might be the best thing for us to do.
That lantern of yours is very helpful in that regard as well.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Limited range, but can't have it on all the time. I suppose I could. No, I'm pretty sure I could, actually. And Alistair begins taking down some notes.
Alistair, can you bring it out now?
Oh, right. He will produce the Lantern of Revealing.
You raise the
Still-
shutters and let the etheric lights spill out around you. You don't see anything untoward around you.
Perhaps we can start seeding misinformation to them. If they're going to peek on us, maybe we muddy the waters a little bit.
Oh, I like this plan.
That involves using it. I am wary of trying to.
Oh no, as far as I understand, they're now aware of who we are. They're aware of the objects that we hold. They're aware of places that we've been.
I mean, they've been aware of all of that, to be honest. We haven't been secretive.
We certainly have not. And with or without the use of the palantir, they have a great deal of capacity to eavesdrop whenever they deem fit.
Perhaps we should make a sort of verbal cue if someone recognizes that there is an eavesdropping orb nearby.
Like a password of some sort.
Indeed, exactly.
I was about to suggest pineapple, but perhaps it might be better to use a word that is...
I was thinking banana. Hilariously.
Why is fruit they go to for whenever someone is thinking up a passcode?
Why tropical fruit, for that matter? I'm noticing a trend here, and I feel like I'm missing a joke.
Ichigo. It means strawberry.
You are making words up now.
You were learning. And she just squints at Alistair.
I will suggest a word that is more natural in conversation. It would be a bit weird if we were talking about plans and someone, perhaps Alistair, going, "Oh my, I wish I had a banana."
What about Fluffy?
How about we don't use code words like that, because unless we can fit them into a sentence nicely, they're going to catch on very quickly that we know. It's very simple to just slip in I see as a part of a statement. I see no options for us on this. I see a lot of options as an example. It's a lot easier. I see is a lot easier and a lot more natural in our speech, as opposed to throwing in random, foods.
It's also easy to remember. I see. Eyes see.
If I might contribute another aspect, and Elaine raises a finger to kind of scratch his face next to his eye. I see what you mean. Little gesture to indicate that you mean it in a very mystical sense as opposed to simply making an observation.
Oh, somatic component.
Exactly.
What?
I like it.
Oh.
Simple and effective.
I see.
Exactly!
And if we come up with 3 or 4 alternate plans that could happen at any moment, that we could that are theoretically possible, then they'll have to split whatever resources they are putting forward to defending against us.
I think we can have fun with this. No, I think this is a. I think I like this.
Yes, that is a good idea. Yes. It is just not very noticeable.
See at the table, Taro pulls out a couple sheets of parchment and begins scribbling down some things. if you are about to meet with our allies, I believe it would be best to inform them of the possibility that our enemies might be spying upon this upcoming meeting. A brief note to explain the situation might be enough to prepare them for what they might see during the meeting.
That is a very good idea.
Fair enough. In the
Yes.
meantime, we should. Taliesin, could we prepare a space for the Lord's Alliance meeting in your glade? Theoretically, it's a different dimension. It might make it harder to scry.
Yes, I can shift things around to do that. Kane won't like that very much.
Well, Kane will just have to deal with it.
I think Kane could be convinced if he knows the stakes and knows just who is watching. I think he may be convinced to move beyond his comfort zone again.
Okay,
Then we can play scrum with him.
I'd rather not.
You do not want to see
Okay,
me
to see
pile
this.
drive him?
You could cut cheese on that man's abs. I don't think. Anyway,
I
Kana
know.
just does like a flex with her arms and like kind of pouts her lips at him.
Go ahead, Taliesin.
Yeah, here's Towson's just like, no, at the cut cheese on his abs thing. Alistair, my magic is intuitive to me. Things make sense, they work. What would happen if you opened up your little rope hole while we were inside the glade? Would that give us double protection?
opening up an extra planner space inside of an extra planner space.
I would think that would be like wearing two sheepskins. That is not going to work.
Jaeger raises his hand. I don't know a lot of magic, but the second page of the book I read said, don't do that.
Right. So depending on exactly how your how the glade works, that could potentially be very, very secure, or very, very catastrophically bad to attend.
Okay. The fact that there's a chance for catastrophically bad, never mind. Ignore that I said it. We're not trying it.
Yeah, not non-zero chance, non-zero.
Yes, I was about to raise the something similar has been done before in some of the records kept at Zevai Tower. Extra-dimensional planner spaces are definitely more secure from scrying than opened within one another, but you do amplify the effect of oddities when such things happen. A case in point, do not ever try to put a and he looks around and snaps his finger at you, Alistair. The pouch, the bag of holding. Do not put one inside of another. Ever.
Alistair nods as though that's fairly obvious to him.
But the bag of holding is fine to go in the glade.
They operate on different principles of extraplanar space. Say, you have been able to use your Palantir from within the glade in the past, correct?
No, I've actually always stepped out of the glade to use it.
You see him nod thoughtfully.
I haven't tried using it within the glade. I just assumed it wouldn't work. I'd be happy to test it.
I would not wish to encourage such an experience so soon after your recent divestment of the Palantir. I think you made the safe assumption. Typically, it is nigh impossible to scry between planar spaces. I think this plan is a good one. All right, excellent. Then we simply have to. We intend to surprise the Maythia with this on the day of the meet? Actually, I think we should, in order to keep things hidden from our adversaries.
Exactly. Besides, a bunch of rulers. The Maythia will accept it if it's a matter of security, and as long as we allow a certain number of his personal guard in, I'm sure it will be fine. I'm sure whoever Jenica sends will be fairly flexible for a dwarf. And I'll speak to Keeper Drummond now. And I'm sure whoever he sends will be on the flexible side as well. The Mareki are the ones that tend to be cantankerous.
Very understanding nods around the table from Mirai, Taro, Vera, and Elaine. All right, so say you wanted to approach Keeper Drummond?
Yes. Alistair, can I borrow your lantern, or is it an attunement thing?
Not at all. Anyone, just remember, anyone can use it at any time. It is not attuned. Just remember to feed it oil. It burns oil. At about the same rate as a regular lantern. It should be more or less topped up. I've only been using it in fits and bursts anyway.
Perfect. The never-ending wine jug, can that make other things?
Yes.
Can it make oil?
Yes. Actually, as happenstance would have it, I do believe it can. Let me just check the math real quick.
I'll let you go with that plan, and I will take the lantern with me.
Alrighty.
You see Taro's attention has been drawn to you, Alistair. You have an infinite fuel source and a magic item that runs on said fuel. You've created a perpetual motion artifact.
Oh, no, it's just a tool set.
All right, say as you approach Drummond, he breaks away from his conversation with one of the cooks and turns towards you. Despite looking absolutely ancient for a dragonborn, he always seems to move with a slight spring in his step and a smile on his face. His eyes nearly invisible under his drooping, furry brows. Ah, yes, Mistress Say.
Keeper Drummond, I was wondering if I could speak with you about two things in private.
Of course. Private, yes. He kind of looks around the hall and strokes his beard a little bit. There is the pantry. It is nearby.
Perfect.
Excellent. And he leads the way over to the pantry since it's the most convenient private space he can think of.
Fair enough.
There are shelves and sacks and barrels, and as you enter, he turns towards the cooks who were kind of glancing over in your way. If anyone needs me, knock twice. Do not barge in, I am conducting important business. Thank you. And he closes the pantry door behind the two of you. All right, yeah, yes, how may I help you?
two things. One, more general. We are convening, at the fort a summit, if you will, of leaders in the area, in this part of the continent, in order to put together a defense against ruin.
That sounds quite impressive.
I would like either you or a representative of the refuge there, just to have your presence known and to keep an eye on your own needs.
I see. Let's see, I have not left the refuge in quite some time. Traveling is a little harder on me these days. A representative should be easy enough to arrange, though. Tell me, our new friends, the orcs, their chieftain is still down in the Vale, yes?
Yes, where we're going, actually, the fort.
Oh, excellent. Is he one of the people who will be invited to your meeting?
Yes, most assuredly.
Good. As it happens, when you all set off down into the Vale, our head ranger Edwin went with him, along with some of our other scouts. He has a good head on his shoulders, and he often makes decisions for the refuge when out in the field. I feel like he would be an excellent representative of our interests. You be sure to tell him I have absolute faith in him.
I certainly shall. That sounds like a wonderful person to add.
Good, and a piece of advice, if you are entertaining several leaders locally, be sure to put on a good meal. Everyone feels better with full stomachs and good food. Puts them in a better state of mind.
I am a terrible cook, but Karnane is certainly to be trusted with a menu.
Excellent, good. And you mentioned one other thing.
Right, so I recently had a brush with a curse, and I'll pull off my gloves and show him my hands.
Oh, you poor thing. Let's see, well, that reminds me of the time Felix got into my store of ink jars. These are certainly not ink. Do you mind? And he raises his long, very well manicured, odd hands up.
Of course.
He takes your hand and kind of begins investigating and drawing his fingers along the back of your wrists, and he actually has surprisingly steady, delicate hands as he's kind of investigating. Like, despite being old and seemingly frail, yeah, he is actually in pretty good health. You also feel a faint tingle as a more intense concentration, expression of concentration crosses his features. I see. Well, I don't sense any lingering traces of a curse, which is good, which is very, very good. But it seems the curse has left behind a mark. Oh.
If it's a permanent scar, I'm fine. I'll survive. I just need to know that the curse isn't lingering.
Well, rest assured, it seems you are indeed free from the curse, from what I can tell. Congratulations, by the way. Such things aren't easily detectable. But this mark, it is difficult to tell if it is permanent or temporary. My previous experience with such things informs me that they must be monitored, but largely left to run their course. If you see any form of degradation, then it would be a good idea to seek out a high cleric of some kind, but I don't sense any necrosis or any particular elemental affinity. No, it just seems like you have been doing a lot of writing recently. Of letters, perhaps? Yes. You can easily explain that away as such.
Appreciated, Keeper Drummond.
Of course, I am happy to help for everything you and your companions have done for us here.
I will put my gloves back on. Right, those were the two things.
Oh, good, good. While we're in here, I think I'm going to begin an inventory of our apples. I think we were running pretty low.
Right, make a list of everything you might need. We can at least get the trade open between here, Kaladesh, and Kalmar, and might be able to. The Meraki are wonderful at wool supplies, so at the very least, keep you up and running if you are dangerously low on anything.
Oh, that would be excellent. I can speak with Edwin upon his return, and I'm sure he will have news to spread to us, and we can discuss such things with him as well.
Yeah, that's all I've got for him. I'll head back to the group.
All right. You can see that the cooks in the kitchen did respectfully give you guys privacy. But they look over at you with such curiosity on their face. But it seems they're used to Drummond doing such things as this, so they don't really say anything as you return to the others.
Right, so Edwin, who is with the Orc Chieftain, will be representative for the refuge.
Oh, that's excellent.
Edwin, I feel like we've heard that name before.
I think we rescued him.
Was he the ranger?
He is the ranger. Or a ranger.
Mirai nods. Indeed, he and I were in the Duergar mines when you came to rescue us. Good man, fairly unassuming, which I suppose makes him very adept at being a ranger.
Lovely. I love a leader that I don't have to convince we are not full of shit.
Great. I assume we're working on a timetable that is well, Edwin will need time to prepare, and I'm certain that the Queen's Gambit is not ready to. Well, they're not exactly moored, so they don't have to unmoor.
No, we expected a quick turnaround here.
And the trip to Kaladesh is pretty short, actually, on an airship of that size.
Alistair nods a few times. I suppose after we leave here for the Lord's Alliance, we'll be making off to destinations unknown up north to deal with other problems. Is there anything
Likely either
more?
Kier or Asta.
Kier or Aster? I'm sure an argument could be made for either, truly. But as far as the refuge goes, they've got protection. They've got a dragon. Is there anything that we'd need here before we go?
I don't believe so.
There was something I wanted to bring up in regards to the situation in Astaria. It occurs to me we may have a resource there, but I am not entirely sure if it is worth tapping.
A pocket ace? A friend of yours?
Oh, friend is a very strong word.
Right, sorry.
No, I not someone I know personally, but have any of you heard of the Order of the Silver Dragon?
Oh, the Paladins! The Dragonborn! They've got the armor. Yeah, we saw them when we first entered Esther City. They were super cool.
From a distance.
Oh. So, not big on good chats then? More, what was the word? Say? Cantankerous?
Anyone who has ventured afield can roll a history check if they like. I would say this would fall under, say, Taliesin, Jaeger. Yeah, I think only Klinkle and Konane might not be aware of these guys.
I think Alistair's too naive to have an actual understanding of them, so I will refrain from rolling.
Yeah, I think your observation on them is exactly right. All right, this is an appropriate set of results. Taliesin, you're not familiar with them at all. Jaeger, vaguely familiar. Like, you recall who Alistair's talking about, but you don't know much about them. Say, the Order of the Silver Dragon is a faction you learned about while serving with the Gunslingers. In many ways, they serve a parallel purpose as the Gunslingers, in that they are a large militant organization based out of the nation of Argonia in Missouri. They are a mercenary army comes to mind. However, they have several chapters scattered across Mobius in any country that is willing to put up with them. And they are like roving bands of small armies. They are also known by the name White Cloaks, as they tend to dress in shining steel and silver armor with white cloaks. And for the most part, they make it their aim to defend the people of the world against the predations of evil beings. They are also incredibly zealous in their worship of Bahamut. They view it as a holy mission that they have been given to protect the people of the world, whether they want their protection or not. They will obey local laws, local lords. You know, they don't go about slinging their authority around or anything like that. And they do seek permission to operate in someone's lands, but there's always been rumors that what the king don't know about what the White Cloaks do, the White Cloaks can't get in trouble for.
We certainly could invite the White Cloaks to help us. It'd be nice to have another army at our side. Yeah.
Elaine is exchanging a look with you, Say, and he's nodding along and making the same kind of face. So then I left Aster City. They were mobilizing to march on Donald's Crossing, with the king pulling all of his troops back to the capital to protect the crown lands. The local chapter master had decided to take his crusade forward against the invaders.
Well, that's very nice of them. We should definitely talk to the local chapter master so we can at least establish that we are on the same side.
That sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a great idea.
They tend to be a bit, zealot is the wrong word. Zealot is the right
No,
word.
that is absolutely the right word. They are zealous.
Zealot is the impolite word. But they really like Bahamut.
They are racist bastards.
Oh,
Yes, they are zealous and racist all at once. They are worshippers of Bahamut, yes, and they see all other gods as lesser gods in the light of Bahamut.
To be fair, I'm deciding that racism, everyone's fucking racist.
so wait, if all of their gods are beneath Bahamut, does that mean that they... What about Tiamat? You know, the Divine Allmother.
Oh, let's not go there.
Yes,
So-
no.
Let's not
Right.
talk about Tiamat in front of
So I guess we might be talking about, we talk about Bahamut and how cool he is and how it's so nice to want to polish his platinum scales and all that. Right then, okay, cool.
And probably not mention that we have a relic of ruin. Just a thought.
Let's avoid speaking of any relics in our dealings with them.
Sounds fair. Sounds fair.
Right, they're allies, but not ones we trust. Quite like the Mareki, actually. And I'll look at Elaine.
To be honest, I think I would rather trust the Mareki more than I would trust the White Cloak. But, the world is changing.
Have you've met Kane, haven't you?
Unfortunately,
The,
I stand by my opinion.
the description of the knights is all I heard was you talking about Kane. So
Anyway, so
Vera snorts a little. Right, we'll
One
cross that
problem
bridge when we come for it,
at
but
a
yes. He nods to you, say.
they're a good thought, though.
Well, if nothing else, their robust, destructive force may be relied upon.
Point them at a thing and let them go.
Yeah, wind them up, set them off.
cannon fodder. I think you're speaking of cannon fodder.
Oh, that's so.
Vera chortles. Well,
Aim them at the thing. If they do damage, great. If not, the cannons will take care of them.
No. They are. Ooh, I was gonna call them a tube. I don't know them well enough. Anyway,
true enough. So when we find ourselves in Astoria, they are someone we can look up. I've heard that their chapter master is reasonable for a white cloak.
Elaine, their chapter master, you mentioned they were mobilizing and heading to Donald's Crossing when last you were in the city. Is the chapter master still within the city?
I mean, I would assume that most chapter masters have to stay very within the chapter house.
The White Cloaks don't maintain chapter houses. They go where the army goes. Their chapter master is a general. He is in charge of the local forces and leads all of their local sorties wherever he decides they need to go.
How odd. I'd have to check in with the chapter master in Aster when we get there. Oh gods, I've got to check in with the chapter master there.
More than
Right.
just a chapter master, from what you've told
Sure,
us.
we're not going to make direct eye contact with that fact, nor are we going to talk about it in public.
Okay, hey, we can talk about it quietly. I mean, we can make a plan. When you're ready to make a plan, it's still a few days off. You've got time to digest. And we can hit that bump when we get to it.
There are far more important things to discuss, but yes, I don't know the man by name. I've heard him referred to as the bearer of the word. Fairly stuffy title, if you ask me, but
Sounds wise,
Bearer of
Clokey.
the word. Okay.
yes, something to consider after our meeting, our Lord's Alliance meeting. I like that term, by the way. Say,
Right, let's get to that then.
Onward and upward.
upward and outward. All right, going to pack up your things and get back to the Goblin Ship.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So you say your farewells to the people in the refuge. You get a couple parting gifts, some small trinkets, some food items to take with you. Just the refuge's way of saying thank you and farewell, since this definitely has the feeling that you all are actually leaving for the foreseeable future.
So long, and thanks for all the apple pie moonshine.
One of you definitely has a jar of that.
Kanani will make sure there's at least 2 jars.
Done. The orcs that have been left behind are still taking their jobs fairly seriously. Their orders have come from Drogon, and once they receive word that you'll be meeting with him relatively soon, yeah, they just want to send word that everything is still okay, and that these soft skins they've taken to calling the refugers, the travelers rather, are very accommodating, but they can't understand how they can live within such a constraining settlement.
Claustrophobic, even.
Very claustrophobic. Aside from occasionally heading in for some supplies, the orcs prefer to camp outside of the refuge.
Where are the hills? Where are the fields?
Jaeger's definitely gonna say some goodbyes and farewells and hearty backslaps to the
Oh yeah,
with the orcs.
Kanani's gonna say goodbye to Bergamont and give him a yam.
Just giving eldritch creatures yams. That's just what we do now.
Yeah, she'll give him some of her dried yam from her rations.
When you try to say goodbye at him, he just bleats angrily at you. But then you toss a yam at him, and he actually does a little hop to grab it out of midair and chomps noisily down on it, and just kind of makes some grumbling noises as he finishes all the crumbs and licking up the remnants.
He does not approve of us leaving. He knows what's to come.
May you live long, Bergamot, so that when I come back, we can have more adventures.
Meh.
Yes, goodbye, Bergamot.
Angrily tears up some grass from a nearby clump and starts to trot off to find a roof to perch on.
Say's just gonna lean over to Vera. That goat is terrifying and we should have eaten him.
He's the only thing more stealthy than Jaeger in this village. Trust me, I've tried to hunt him before. All right, you all head out and aboard the Queen's Gambit. Just toss you all over here for now.
Hey, it's the big map. This map-ass map.
This is certainly a map.
It's absolutely one of the maps of all time.
the mappiest of maps. Oh god, I forgot that everyone I put on the map starts at the very lowest of levels.
It'd be that way.
I tried to pull Vera up and she collided with the ceiling.
Vera did not enable Nopeless.
Just bringing these guys out there just for my own reference. It is about a 7.5 hour trip back to Kaladesh. So you will be arriving around 8 o'clock in the evening.
Eight in the evening. So we're going from like 11 to 8, so about 8 hours of travel.
Yeah, roughly.
What to do for 8 hours?
That is exactly my next question.
You need to sleep.
What? No.
Yeah.
What?
Alistair, sleep or I'll make you sleep.
Oh, Mom.
Jaeger punches his palm.
Okay. I'll go take a nap. If I sleep for a full 8 hours, I'll be up all night, and I don't think... Well, I suppose I could be the one nocturnal member of the party that isn't an elf.
I will nap with you.
I was about to say, Kanani, can you make sure he gets some sleep? He's getting very squirrely.
I'll look at Taro and Vera to see if they have a reaction to the only non-nocturnal person outside of the elves.
They both, at that, when Say made that comment, they both looked at Elaine, who looked off into the distance.
We don't ask about Elaine's book.
So I look over at Alistair. Alistair. Taro and Vera aren't elves. They're night people.
They most certainly are elves.
I suppose it would depend what kind of elf you are asking the question of.
Well, this elf isn't racist, and I think all you pointy-eared folks are just crackerjack, regardless of which color, or in the ground, above the ground, in trees.
Yes.
All quite elegant.
So when we return to Kaladesh, please make sure not to say that to any other drows, please. Or no, sorry, Shadar Kai, because that's fighting words.
Oh, gods no, I put my filter on in public. You're all family. He'll go tramp off to find a place to rest.
Taliesin shrugs. He doesn't know if they find it as an insult to be called elves. He was trying to be polite about it, but, you know, he's
Make
fine
an insight
otherwise.
check if you like.
I mean, I'm fairly certain that it's not going to go well because my rolls
I'll
have been
actually
shit
give you
recently, but,
advantage on this.
Where is it? Oh, come on. That's not a terrible roll there. Oh, hey.
Well,
One in the
shit.
pool.
All right.
It keeps happening.
Wait, don't we? Yeah, 2 in the pool now.
Mine was kind of like, I'm gonna do this. I don't know if that counts.
It absolutely counts.
It counted. It was an ability check.
So the reason you have advantage is because you did spend time with Vera in the Undermountain. You and Say's gotten closer to Vera, but you remember in the Undermountain, you and Vera had a kind of a adversarial relationship. The Drow, they do consider themselves elves. They have a particular disdain for what they term high elves. And you've heard Vera call you a high elf and refer to other elves as high elves at various times. But for the Drow, it's definitely a insulting term. That kind of describes a elf who is very haughty and Actually, everything you expect a Mareki or Mercian elf might be. Or a
Okay.
Nathrani elf, if you're
Yeah.
adjusting for regional differences.
Oh yeah, fully expected of the Nathrani.
Yeah,
And,
so
and so good that we haven't had to deal with any.
exactly. So yeah, so long as no one's trying to call them a high elf, then they're pretty blasé about the whole thing. Although the mention of the Shatterkai does make Taro look a little concerned.
Oh, mention of Shatterkai made Taro look concerned?
Yes. Vera's Vera, so she didn't look particularly perturbed, but he definitely took a moment like,
Then I will, seizing that opportunity, I'll look at Taro. I mean, you don't. How do you feel about the Shatterkai?
well, the Shatterkai are the elves that remained loyal to Pictopole when the Drow rebelled. I'm certain there is some issues there that they might feel strongly about.
I would assume so as well, though outside of the ones that we have dealt with, I have not had any real experience speaking with any within Kaladesh. I don't know if anyone else has.
Interestingly, you do recall that there were Drow mixed in among the Shatterkai. So while Taro might seem reluctant, it might be more from his personal perspective.
Well, out of character, I know that a bunch of Shatterkai were very uppity. Civilian Shatterkai, I should say, were very uppity about Drow's period.
Yeah.
But that's not something that Taliesin actually got to see, so it's not something he would bring up.
Well, let's burn that bridge when we get there, shall we?
Please, Vera says as she cracks her knuckles.
Taliesin just shrugs. I'm fairly certain that the people in Kaladesh don't know that we killed the god yet, but that's something I don't think we need to bring up.
I agree. Individuals tend to get very defensive about their religions, particularly if you tell them that you've killed their god.
What? No.
Anyway.
As you say that, Taro kind of mumbles to himself. I am still amazed that you were able to do that. The ramifications of such a thing.
Well, like my sister said, if it can bleed, it can die.
Vera grins. The Mereki are very practical people.
Well, if we can get past all the racism, I'll teach you how to play Scrum.
Is that like a board game or a field game?
Field
game.
And I would very much like to learn this game.
How would I say this? We insulted the Mareki. Normally you have even even measured teams. Normally. They pretty much had an entire battalion against us at the end of the game. And the Maytheer was not happy about that.
From what I have heard, I doubt he would be very happy about a great many things. Let alone seeing his precious people showed up in a game that they invented, I'm guessing?
I don't know the full history, but it feels safe to say that the Mareki invented that one.
As you discuss the finer details of Scrum with Vera and give her some pointers, how would everyone like to spend their trip back to Kaladesh?
I have been remanded to bed rest by the captain, it would seem.
Sure as shit have.
And I don't believe... Actually, I'm trying to recall now, with Alistair and Konane, has Elaine been made aware of this?
No.
Trying to recall.
Elaine
Did-
has his suspicions, but Kanani hasn't said anything to him.
Was Elaine at the breakfast when Kanani was talking about it? Maybe he wasn't. No.
he was not. He was
No.
not at the Glade.
He stays out of the glade. He's paranoid.
Alright, that's more or less what I recalled, so... Alright.
I mean, he just has to roll more than a 2 on an insight check. Guess who's got a charisma thump stat?
Interesting that you note that. God, what's your modifier? What's your passive charisma, Alistair?
Passive charisma. So that would be... Well, let me look at deception.
10 plus
real
your
quick.
modifier.
10 plus modifier. Oh, yeah. Oh! Guess who doesn't have a dump stat in charisma? My passive charisma's a 10.
Okay. He had rolled a 9.
Well,
Right now,
get fucked, I guess.
He's back on a ship full of goblins.
Hell yeah. Sailing on a ship of gobs. No, crazy on a ship of... God damn it, whatever. Fuck it, I'm dead. I'm done.
All right, Alistair has done himself in and retired for the day. What's everyone else doing?
Talison's sticking close to Mirai, even if she's... unless she specifically asks him to give her some space while she's, like, talking to Taro or something. Because she did want to talk with Taro at some point about to catch up with things in regards to certain things about deities, etc. And I think Elaine is also included in that because she wanted to get a sit rep on all the major deities if possible, but we only have 2 of the sages. And obviously Taro also would be interested in having her translate the book. So whatever Taliesin can be there passively and chilling out and doing stuff, he would do that. But other than that, if she needs space, he would give her space.
Okay, so you're looking to run through the pantheons with her during the kind of research time.
I'm not saying that I am. I'm saying that I know that was one of the things that she had said she wanted, and Taliesin said, "Yeah, I'll hook you up with the sages that we have in order to do that if you would like." So, Taro and Elaine. If she wanted to do that, she can do that, and he would just sit behind. I'm good either way.
Well, it is very important to note if this is something. The sages are available. Elaine tends to wander by himself unless called upon, and Taro does have the book to break into. So, if you intend to broach the conversation with them, that is important to know.
If we all happen to be in the same area and she's just relaxing and not actively trying to translate the book, then he would point out, I know I've done introductions before, but this is the Sage of Hectopole, this is the Sage of Mischief, because my brain isn't picking up the overarching deity that...
Azaka.
Azaka.
Sorry, Azaka is a little more specific. No, Azaka is correct. Kokinu is one of the gods.
Kokinu is the specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm pulling some things together. There you go. Putting together a nice little room here.
War room.
All right. All right, so as there is a room kind of in the center of the deck here that's got a nice big, it's almost like a lounge area, officer's lounge. And for some reason, there is a recently stocked alcohol cabinet with a goblin dressed in black slacks and a white button-up shirt currently polishing glasses in there. And you make this more formal introduction. We'll say that Elaine got wrangled into being present for this. And as you make these introductions, Mirai is polite in meeting them and very direct and to the point. So what does it mean to be a sage of the gods? Elaine kind of laughs a little bit. Usually it means that you have to do a bunch of things on the call, so to speak, whether you want to do them or not. Other than that, you're kind of left to do your own thing and explore the world on your own terms. And Taro looks over at him with a much more somber gaze. Perhaps for some gods. To be a sage is more a title of responsibility. It is passed on from one mentor to another to their students, and is a title that has to do with maintaining a repository of knowledge regarding your god and the pantheon of which you are a sage. To that extent, I have gone through great lengths to ensure that I am one of the foremost authorities on Hectopole on the surface. Among my kind, the priests and priestesses would perhaps know more about the intricacies of each of the fallen's particular paths, but I try to maintain a more holistic view. And Elaine cuts in before Taro gets a little too academic about it. Yes, that's true, but I am far from the most authoritative person to speak on the nature of Azaka. To be honest, temperance has never been a very strong suit of mine, but I kind of just stumbled into this position, to be quite honest. I'm getting both of their accents confused. Oh, God.
Don't be the campfire guy.
And it's a safe bet to say that this conversation kind of dovetails into your purpose about with Mirai in explaining the pantheons, which is a engaging discussion. Elaine and Taro are both. There are clouds moving across the screen now. Both. It's an interesting subject for them, so they open up about it. But you can see Mirai's expression growing more troubled as they discuss the pantheons.
Yeah. I see troubled. I'm just not connecting it to what.
She kind of brings attention to the fact when she asks, "What about the rest of them?" At which point both Elaine and Taro look somewhat confused. The rest of whom? The rest of the gods and the other goddesses. There are no other gods or goddesses among the pantheons. They are the chosen elevated of the younger gods of the divine dragons. Mirai's frown deepens slightly, but she nods slowly. I see. Elaine and Taro both kind of write it off a little bit and talk about some of the lesser deities often connected with some of the gods of the pantheon, such as Kurnoth and Sylvanas. But Taliesin, you do clock that even hearing some of these names, she does seem to recognize some of them, but she leaves the conversation feeling a little more confused than she was going into it.
Yeah, like after things die down a bit, I'm gonna look towards her, while Elaine and Taro seem to be a little bit distracted in thought, and I'm gonna say, you were expecting other gods at the same level as the ones as Hectopole and Zaka and the others?
No, I know of the divine dragons, but the pantheons seem smaller.
Well, the Days of Fury took quite a toll. It's possible that we only know of the ones who survived, or at least the ones whose worship was still remembered after the Days of Fury. If you happen to know... If you happen to know where one of these other members of a pantheon would have had a venerated temple within Samara, where we are now, we might be able to look into it. Though the fact that we don't know, they would have to be some hidden ruin or applied to something else, maybe. Or perhaps worshippers went from worshipping them to another in the same pantheon or a slightly different deity in another pantheon. That's all I can think of, really.
Yes, I suppose I will have to keep my eyes and ears open. From what I gather, though, the Days of Fury were quite a very, very long time ago. I suppose it's possible if some of them had fallen, then, as you say, the records of them might have vanished.
Yeah, that at least is the thing that makes the most sense. Was there a specific deity that you were hoping to get information on, if they still existed, or was it a purely academic thought or inquiry?
Oh, no, purely academic.
I nod.
All right, what's everyone else up to?
Jaeger would start off poking around the cannons. Just some idle curiosity about them, how much they might work, what the repairs looking like.
As soon as you get near to one of those cannons, there's a group of goblin engineers who immediately start shouting and trying to wave you back.
I'm not gonna try to use it. I'm only curious as to its make.
There's a brief squabble among them as one of them gets pushed forward. No, not particularly young, not particularly old, but his clothing is kind of scorched and poked through with burnt holes, and he has no eyebrows. And there seems to be soot kind of permanently ingrained into his face.
Yeah, careful, big guy. You don't want to accidentally set one of those things off. Not until they're primed and aimed in a particular direction. A lot of them are still being fixed since the kerfuffle a couple days ago. But no, they're still they still got some juice in them.
Jaeger nods. Perhaps you can tell me just a bit of how they work, and in exchange, I'll move some things for you.
Well, you just kind of point and shoot. They're pretty easy. I mean, they do need, priming and charging with the Anarchy barrels and all. Really, complicated stuff.
my friend Alistair uses, I believe he called it rune work. These have that sort of thing as well, right?
The hell is a rune walk?
That would be a no. Then how would these are clearly magical? So how do they? How do you infuse your will onto them?
Oh, that comes from channeling power and will through the anarchy barrel. Yeah, that's the power source. Really responsive to will if it doesn't push back. Most of them push back. It's not pleasant if you allow it to push back.
I don't doubt that you, wonderful mechanics and such, have great will and power, but perhaps there's a way. Perhaps I can speak to my friend and he can idly think about a solution to your explosive tendencies.
I mean, these are pretty high-functioning pieces of equipment. We got most of the explosiveness under control, so long as no one just kind of wanders over and starts running their hands over things they shouldn't be running their hands on.
Jaeger nods. That kind of answers his question of how it works. Well, don't mind me. I'll continue inspecting a safe distance away. I promise not to touch anything that does not need to be touched.
All right, big guy. We got our eyes on you. We got our eyes on you. Just,
I'm a
stick
bit
around.
man.
Yep. Exact. Yep.
It is okay. So Jaeger's gonna nod and leave, and then I'm gonna roll a stealth check. So he's gonna just, like, stick around and watch him from around the corner, his head sticking out.
They don't notice your presence as they get back to work and crack open one of the cannons. You can see there is a lot of wire work and an array of like metals inside of the armatures that hold the anarchy barrel inside these cannons. It is very reminiscent of what you've seen in airships that draw power from aether stones. So there does seem to be some similar principles in place. But you also see that whenever the goblins have to work around the large anarchy barrel in its setting, they are very careful to not accidentally jostle it or anything like that.
Okay.
There's a sort of fear that borders on reverence in how they approached their tooling of the machine.
Jaeger is gonna wait until they're like clear and away from the current cannon and whatever they're working on, so that when he calls out, or when he's gonna emerge again. So I have a question.
Oh my god!
Have you ever? This is gonna sound pretty silly, I'm sure, but have you ever attempted strapping one of those to perhaps a hammer?
A different goblin speaks up as the first one is like clutching at his chest.
You mean strapping an anarchy barrel to a hammer?
Either that, though that seems a bit crude.
I mean, one way or another, something's gonna blow up.
Would there be a way to strap an Anarchy barrel through a tiny cannon, perhaps on a sword or a hammer, to infuse the will through the half into the as words into the gem, so that when I strike my foes, it creates quite an explosion.
Oh, so you mean like taking a hammer or a sword and combining it with a boomstick?
Exactly.
The engineer kind of like scratches his head and squints at the roof.
Jaeger.
Well, yeah, I mean, theoretically it's possible. Um, but with those weapons, like you're hitting stuff, and well, I mean, you want the barrel to discharge, so the mechanism's there, all right. Protecting you from the discharge, so it only goes, into what you're trying to hit rather than what's doing the hitting. That's gonna be the part that trips you up.
Jaeger leans close, scratching his chin. What would it take for me to hire you to try to do such a thing?
Oh, we're on retainer to Queen Bean. We can't take out on outside jobs.
Jaeger leans up and just kind of snaps his fingers. That makes too much sense. I'll have to talk to the Queen.
Yeah, union rules and all that.
The Union.
Sometimes your hands get tied, but the union speaks for us all.
And they all chime in.
The union speaks for us all.
No worries. That has actually given me a good wealth of information. The fact that you knew what I was talking about tells me that my idea, though some way called crazy, is not that unheard of in the crazy circles.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. I'm pretty sure some goblins done the walk on that. I mean, the fact that we don't know their name means that it probably ended in a very predetermined fashion. But someone probably did it.
The trouble will be, as you mentioned, giving the mechanism to attack the foe and not the user. Quite the conundrum. It's something I will have to talk to Alistair, my friend with the rune work, and the Queen, to see if she even allows such a thing. You do have quite a full plate and a full sip to work on. I want to thank you for all of your services here, and I'll leave you to it.
He gives you kind of a thumbs up.
And Jaeger's gonna leave with some stuff to think about.
Okay, good good question to ask the goblins. Clinkle or Say, any particular tasks you would like to pursue during the transit back to Kaladesh?
Not particularly. I'm pretty sure everyone's full up on potions, so we haven't really had any big fights since the last time I restocked everybody.
Safe to assume that Say is finding a private room.
Safe to assume that Vera would help her find a private room. Okay, so I guess we are jumping ahead several hours.
Yeah, I will say that Jaeger is going to acquire some parchment and some writing implement and crudely draw different styles of weapon and jewel tied to it.
Awesome. And I I will definitely confirm out of character that such weapon can definitely be built.
Excellent.
All right, sorry, I got immediately distracted because Toby has recently learned how to hug me.
Oh,
Like he'll be hanging out in my lap, and if I don't pay enough attention to him, he'll reach up with one arm and lightly set it on my shoulder. I mean, he knows it's I give him more attention there, but it is goddamn adorable. All right. Transit time passes, and you find yourselves pulling into the airspace over Kaladesh at about 7 o'clock this evening.
Wonderful. We're docking, and just I'm probably checking in with Queen Bean.
Some previously arranged coordination with the Mareki, rather than just like coming in over the main fort in the center of Kaladesh, it does kind of move over the shipyards, and from there you are all able to disembark through one of the kind of rickety raised towers there. It looked like this was actually the main port of call for the Queen's Gambit before it was reclaimed by the goblins. You are able to make your way through town and head back up to the fort. Not a whole. You've only been gone about a day, so not a whole lot has changed within the city. Although now that you travel with a pair of drow with you, you do see a lot of Mareki are kind of giving you all a side eye, which honestly is nothing new.
Nothing new.
And you make your way back to the fort. You all have access to it. So looking for the Queen Bean, she does have a kind of where you met with her before, kind of a corner suite within the fort. And upon being allowed entrance, you do see that she is well, yeah, she looks like she's holding court. She has a large chair that has been pulled over to one of the windows that she's sitting in. She has her personal guard standing nearby, and there are a number of other goblins who are not among her harem, who have gathered kind of in the center and are bringing their proposals to her and discussing, sharing news of what's down below. Is there anyone accompanying Say on her visit to the Queen Bean?
Jaeger.
Alistair would be waking up at around that time. I don't see why he wouldn't come along. That is to say, I don't know if there's anything else that he would be doing at this time.
That is perfectly fine by me. As you enter and kind of wait to be acknowledged, it only takes a minute or two before the Queen looks over.
Oh, well, would you look at that? We've got some official queenly business that we must attend to. We are going to call it here, folks. You can all go home. For those of you I haven't been able to get to, just bring your petitions back tomorrow. I promise we'll see to it right away. Now, Scoots, all of you, you do good business. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
And the goblin visitors all kind of like alternate between grumble and normal chatter as they're seen out of the room. And the queen lets off a sigh of relief as she kind of sinks into her chair.
Oof, there's a lot going around. Come in, come in, come in. Good to see you. I was only about a day. You bring my ship back in one piece?
Certainly did. Thank you for the loan.
It's a
Ah,
very quick ship.
my pleasure, yes. I am very happy with its acquisition. I expect you got everything you needed?
We certainly did. Vera, this is Queen Sabine. Queen Sabine, this is Vera, one of our allies.
I'm going to say, yeah, Vera. Taro is there with Vera.
Oh, then say would have introduced Taro to
Yeah,
me. She's
yeah.
not a bitch.
Yeah, no.
No, just leave Taro out. He's just a third wheel anyway.
That is fine. I am used to it.
Yeah, you introduced both of them. I was just trying to figure out, like, okay, so which one of the NPCs would be here? All right, yeah. They both give appropriate bows, knowing that they're meeting with the queen. Some of the goblins in her harem kind of sit forward and take closer stock of the two drow in their presence. The queen arches an eyebrow and sits up a little straighter.
Ah, I see. These two friends of yours, are they from your world or are they from mine?
Us.
Okay, and you two of you followers of Ruin, or
Taliesin, they both kind of shake their head.
we are not, Your Majesty. We parted ways with our people quite some time ago. Now we seek only to assist those who are opposing the effects of Hectopole on this world. Ah, well, then I won't have to kill you. Excellent, excellent. Pull up a chair. Friends of Valor Company is friends of mine.
She seems to relax, but her guards don't.
Yeah? Relax.
Yeah, Jaeger gives like a scrunched lip and a relaxing wave of his hand. Like, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
Alistair's gonna, as they sit down to relax. All right, say, are we going to be getting down to details, important things? Should we pop up in the?
Always a good idea, actually, at this point.
I'll take the lantern from her and proceed to light it and place it down somewhere in the center of the room. Take
You
a
can
quick
see
look
the
around.
elderly goblin who tends to hang out near the queen squints his eyes behind his goggles as he moves forward to inspect the lantern.
Feel free to take a good long look. I assure you this is non-ionizing radiation.
Ah, more's the pity. Now, this is fancy work.
I am nothing if not fancy. Well, no, I'm several things that aren't fancy. Anyway, I accept the compliment. Thank you.
I was going to say.
Does the room appear to be clear?
You do find. Actually, it's been a while. You pull out the lantern and shine it, and you do see a small sphere illuminated in the air hovering just below the ceiling.
I see. I'm gonna scratch my eye a little bit.
So we recently discovered we're being scryed on, and we thought we might move the meeting to Kelmar, a bit more secure.
Come on. That's the city your fancy warlord what's it's from, yeah?
It is. And then I'm gonna motion to Taro and kind of point to the sensor.
You see Taro kind of murmurs a little bit under his breath and raises his hand over his mouth, kind of obscuring a gesture.
Now that's a little far away for a medium. I mean, we're still just trying to find our feet here.
And in a quick motion, Taro throws his hand out and closes his open hands into a fist, and the sphere blinks out.
Right, you're right. Never mind. We'll keep it at Fort Valor.
Hey, is that some kind of salute or something? Because really, you don't need to do that. It gives me weird vibes.
We're being spied on, and we've decided to deal with being spied on by sowing misinformation.
Oh, you mean literally, like right now? Oh, that's clever. I like that.
She leans forward in her chair and points over at the goblin engineer looking over your equipment.
Hey, Rolf, take notes. That this is important stuff. And that thingy on the table, that's the thing you used to illuminate the whatever it was that was spying on us?
Oh, not just the thingy that was spying on us. Basically any invisible thing cannot be invisible. So it'd be perfect for messing with those white-bearded, not friends of yours.
Ah, good to know. What do you want for it?
Look, no, this one's mine.
I mean, it could also be mine.
Is it possible to make another?
That is a very compelling point. It could be yours. Do some quick math, see what I can do.
Ah, much obliged. Willing to pay a fair deal for it.
Alistair's going to...
It wouldn't be a terrible idea to have most of our allies have one, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to give the Maethia one yet, if you catch my drift.
Alistair nods. If nothing else, Queen Sabine, I think, would have earned a great deal of enmity from her former employer? That'd be putting it nicely.
Oh no, they were captives. I was being
okay.
Yeah,
certainly. All niceties aside, then, your former captors would probably take any and all opportunities to find retribution, I imagine. So, if nothing else, I could part with this and produce another one for the company.
Alistair, how long would it take you to produce one of those?
This is where I'm going into the maths. Little less than an evening's work. If I'm really going hard, if I have the proper workspace and the proper materials, a few hours.
Hey Rolf, you can find that for him, right? You found someplace here to do your work. Yes, I think I have a place for him. Ah, perfect. Everything's coming out swimmingly. While you're at it, hey Rolf, you help the kid out. You know, that way if we need to make any more of these in the future, you're gonna know how to make it. As you say, my queen.
Alistair kind of like squints slightly, and I think Say would catch that he is actually gritting his teeth ever so slightly.
The unfortunate new design is proprietary.
Ah, shit, for real?
Trade secret, I'm afraid. But we'll be happy to make you one.
Nah, that's disappointing. Well, you can still use the workspace at least. And yeah, tell me how much that thing's worth. We're still figuring out the exchange rates over here, but we've got plenty of currency to work with on account of the people here not needing theirs anymore.
Right then. Right. Sure. I will strive to come up with a fair price. Moman, thank you. I'll get you a number shortly.
Sounds good. Anything else I can do you for this evening?
No, we're mostly here to return your ship. Make note that preparations are underway and everything is moving on schedule.
I appreciate the update. That's awfully considerate of you. I hear things, and it sounds like it won't be long till you have a ship of your own, huh?
That's the next thing to check on.
Jaeger steps forward. Actually, I have a little bit of a private venture to query about after this grand meeting is over.
Well, I'll leave you to it.
The queen nods and looks over at you, Jaeger.
So Jaeger steps forward and unravels basically a scroll, and drawn on it are, different variations of sword, club, axe, spear, and on each one is just a generic gem, emerald cut gem on each one. I'd like to make one of these with an Avaki barrel.
Hey, well, that's your sphere of influence. What do you think?
The elderly goblin adjusts his goggles and comes over to look at your drawings, Jaeger.
A little crude on the schematic works.
I apologize. I am not so good at the engineering. Which is why I come to you.
That's fine. Not all of us can be gifted. So you want to strap an anarchy barrel to stick and hit things with. That's what I'm getting from this.
Less that and more condense the power of a cannon onto a weapon. Perhaps
like a boomstick.
Quite a boomstick indeed.
But you also want to hit things with it.
Ideally, yes.
He looks up at you and squints.
There are easier ways to blow yourself up. Trust me, I know.
It's less about blowing myself up and more about blowing up my competition.
I believe something like this could possibly be done. Yeah, sound in theory. Right, with the tools I've got in the workshop, we
Oh god, now that it's in my head, I can't help but lean into it.
I'm sorry.
Then we could probably work something up for you.
I appreciate it. I know that you're very busy getting yourself in order, Queen. So I don't want to cause any undue stress. But if I know how much I would need to pay and get this done in as safe a way as possible, knowing that attacking with an anarchy barrel always carries some sort of risk, I would greatly appreciate it. The foes we have are mighty, and if we are to liberate other peoples like yourselves, we're gonna need mighty weapons that create big holes in our dragon adversaries.
I do like the idea of making big holes in the enemies. Right. Well, are you and your friends planning to skip town anytime soon?
We have the alliance, the meeting to go to, and he looks back at the others. Notably, say,
Say's watching this venture with like a arched eyebrow, like as the other explosives expert.
All right. Well, give me a couple of days. I'll see what we got available and work up something for you.
much appreciated. And he rolls up the scroll, which I should have noted is like as tall as him. He has that many variations, and he has them to the gentle. The fuck are they?
Goblin.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say dwarf. The gentle goblin.
The gentle gob.
All right. Putting a note down here. So it is currently the evening of Octon the 6th. Octon the 9th is when the summit is due to be held. So there is a couple days worth of time.
Ooh. It should be fairly trivial for us to actually get there. But actually, Queen Bean is coming with anyway, so we'll be taking the Queen's Gambit, right?
Yeah, I'll check on construction for our ship, but honestly, I do not expect it to be anywhere near done. Or I expect it to be about halfway done.
Yeah, I mean, it can limp. But I don't think it's sky-worthy yet.
Yeah.
No.
It's really more of a hover boat.
But like I said, I'll check on it.
All right.
So,
point of order, we told them to come get us from the fort. And the summit happens on the 9th. The ship, based on Misha's notes, will be finished on Octon 10th. So the day after the Lord's Alliance meeting is when it should be available and getting to us.
That's when they originally pitched it. That note on the timeline is just more of this is when we advised it would be ready, but you guys want it sooner, so that's what we're working on. But we'll get a live update from the shipyards in a moment. Any other questions for Queen Bean and her entourage?
Before we fully hang up the phone on Bean here, As far as selling a magic item, are we going by the DMG rules or Zenfire's rules for that?
To be honest, as the creator of such item, you can attempt to sell it for whatever rate you would like to sell it at.
Okay, so Alistair, knowing that this kind of item on like a market, not necessarily like commissioned by a lord, but just knowing the prices of, you know, what someone is worth at the Lyceum, would know that an item like this would go for no less than 400 gold pieces. So that's going to be his like his yeah no limit.
Mhm.
So yeah, he'll do some maths and make some notes, and he'll present to Queen Sabine. Alright, so a fair assessment of the time spent building versus the complexity of the build. I would estimate, I believe that 600 gold pieces would be a fair price for an item like this. Unless you would like something custom tailor built to your tastes, in which case the price could be negotiated for a modest fee.
I do like me some bespoke articles. What kind of fee you thinking of?
Alistair will, yeah, kind of leans back a little bit, tugs on the straps of his backpack, and well, I've studied under the tutelage of Heinrich Ironfoot himself, taking on the teachings and disciplines of fine jewelry. I don't think you would be. I think you'd appreciate the value of a good jeweler in this day and age. So something bespoke, something perhaps colorful, eye-catching, glittery, even. I'd say around 800 gold pieces would be fair for my cut of work.
Right, Alistair, roll me a persuasion check.
Great! That's gonna be.
You can use one in the pool if you feel like that roll could get better.
That roll could certainly be better.
Make it better.
Also, have you
Okay.
used enlightened self-interest or the artificer thing yet? Because I think you should.
I was going to ask if I could, kind of flashing his tools and pointing out what he has worked on, trying to appeal to her magpie sensibilities, especially with jewelry is concerned. I'd like to add a flash of genius to that if possible.
Sure, that sounds good to me.
All right, so that's going to turn that 14 to a 19.
All right.
Alright, well that sounds good to me. Hey Bobo, take him to the treasury and make sure this man gets paid. We's getting a magic Latin.
I leaned a little too heavily into a city there. One of the other goblins in the entourage, this one a very smooth looking male goblin adorned with all kinds of rings and earrings that don't quite all fit together stylistically, aside from the fact that they are all rare, precious gems.
Right away, Your Majesty. If you would come with me, I will see to it that you are paid.
Right. Well, I'll have to go pay and do some work. I will go Valor Company. I'll be in touch.
Jaeger taps his ear. Let us know if you need anything.
Will do.
All right, to take care of this part real quick, You are taken down into the vault under the fort, where it seems like, well, this was where the treasury was, and there are Mareki guards present, along with goblin guards. And you can see that a lot of the coin and wealth inside seems to be being split between the two sides of the room, and there are several goblins already in there, like organizing the gold coins and moving some of what look like looted items from airships and seafaring vessels into piles. And you also see a lot of Gurish coin in there as well. And at a table in the back, there is a goblin sitting on a stool. There is a lantern on the desk next to him, and he's got a pair of spectacles on as he's investigating coinage. And your goblin guide goes over to him and asks him to provide 800 gold coins. The goblin accountant kind of grunts and goes over, and there's some debate over how much gold 800 gold is. And after a few minutes of discussion and haggling, he comes back with a pouch of coins that jingle pleasantly. That looks definitely doesn't look like a gold coin purse, but he climbs back onto his chair and tosses it on the desk.
All right, here you go. This should cover it, I think.
Right. Just spitballing it. Considering considering Alistair's history with counting coins and treasurer-ing, and knowing full well what the exorbitant tuition costs of a school is, and perhaps seeing some of the exorbitant bags used to pay for tuition, does this look accurate?
You take a peek inside the bag?
I'll take a peek inside the bag, sure. I'll heft it first, and if it feels right, I'll take a peek inside.
Well, you definitely know that you can't fit 800 gold coins into a coin purse.
That makes sense.
What you do find inside are 10 platinum coins and 3 gold ones.
That look about right. Still trying to figure out the conversion rates around here.
Platinum is what, 100 gold pieces or 10 gold pieces?
Oh shit, it's actually 10, sorry. There should be more than that. Oh god, now I gotta do math. Suffice to say, you get enough coin purses to cover about 1,000 gold in platinum and about 50 gold.
No, this looks to be about right. I think you've got the gist of it.
Alistair, you little shit.
Give me a deception check.
A deception check?
He would not give back a penny if somebody overpaid him.
Not 20.
See, better fucking
I'm putting it back in the pool.
Wow.
The goblins are content.
Look, they're lucky that we're not sitting in there going, and a third for us. So,
Oh, the finder's fee. All right, I have to figure out how much that is. 100 platinum pieces.
Good. I'm delegating the work to you.
Okay. Yeah, 100 platinum pieces and 50 gold pieces.
Yeah.
That covers it. Cool. The crew's paid. We got salary. Salary covered. Right. Well, thank you very much. I need to get to work right away to produce Queen Bean's very special, bespoke, and pretty lamp. Oh, you folk seem to be very very keen on pleasing your queen. I'm sure there's some scuttlebutt as far as to what her preferences might be on certain shinies and sparkly twinkly things. Do you know if she happens to have a favorite color or favorite gemstone?
The two goblins, the one that brought you down here in the account, both speak up as one. Green. Yeah, green. Green.
Green. Oh, green. Green. Great. Green is great. Green is good. Green is... I don't have any green gems. We are in the treasury.
I thought we had
Hello.
a bunch of emeralds.
Emeralds? We had a bunch of amethyst.
No, I could have sworn we also had emeralds from Fairvax's stuff.
I think we bought the ship with some
Yeah.
of those emeralds.
Oh.
Buy emeralds.
Buy emeralds.
Yeah, Jaeger had like a fist-sized emerald is something that he gave up for the ship.
We have been hella japed.
Do you have a lot of amethyst, though?
We have a lot of amethyst, which I cannot make green. I am in a treasury, however. I'm assuming there are non-liquid assets here. So Alistair's going to push his luck even further. Oh, well,
Also,
that's...
given that green and purple are complementary colors, or not?
They sure are.
Yellow and you can highlight some of the emeralds if we get them with amethyst.
Presuming I can get a hold of some. Yeah, I'm gonna push my luck and see if I can connive my way into getting some emeralds out of these people, or sufficiently green-colored gems.
I mean,
Or
jade
alternatively,
is a pretty
copper
color.
with verdigris.
Oh yeah, I could patina some copper. Hey, you know what? Maybe we'll go with that. Amethyst and patinaed copper. I like the way you think, Bird. I have an idea that is formulating. Thank you very much for the insight. I will strive to do it for her.
They both
And,
wish you good luck.
Yeah, I'll abscond with my pouch of money. Guys, you're not gonna believe it. Guys, I did a thing. I did a bad thing. I did such a bad thing. Oh, I'm tingling. I found a wallet and I didn't give it back. I did a crime.
I love that he's giddily explaining this to anyone who'll listen to him as he exits the treasury.
He's just touching his earring, and yeah, he's on Vox. Because those guys have got to be close enough ish. Yeah, Alistair's going to be spending the rest of the night 1 hour to make this thing.
The cheapest, most utilitarian magic item he has.
Hey, it's utilitarian. It's not necessarily cheap. He's just good.
And I'd say
Excellent.
that the healing potions that Klinkle pumps out aren't worth less than 50 gold each. Doesn't matter that she can pop out like 8 in an hour.
Hell yeah.
Those sell very well as well. All right, and say you wanted to check on the status of your ship.
Yes.
All right, heading back down to the dock. You head over to where your ship is currently in dry dock. The ship that you and Valor Company have come to call the Stormlight. So it has been... Well, really, it really only has been like 1 day since you bought the ship. But you can
Mostly
see.
just showing it to Vera and Taro and anyone else who wants to come along.
Wait,
And Elaine, why not?
Vera, Taro, come see our ship. It's still being built, but come see our ship. All right, so you do notice that there has been work done on it. It appears that a lot of lumber has been staged and is currently being used to patch up the holes in the hull. And you can see on the side where some work has been done to replace some of the mast poles. Since it is about 8 o'clock at night when you get there, it looks like things have kind of quieted down and wrapped up for the evening. But you do see that the construction is, even for one day's worth of effort, it seems like they're really pushing it over here. Vera whistles softly, and Elaine kind of begins like walking around the tower leading up to it. You know, all things considered, that is not a bad airship. Honestly, for the amount of money that you paid for it, this was a steal.
And with a little bit of time aboard, we'll have cannons and harpoons and I am sure all sorts of magical doodads that Alistair and I can put together.
I can't wait to see this thing completed. I'm hoping that we might have a more. Well, you don't seem to have a very good track record with airships. Hopefully, this will be different. Yeah.
I certainly hope so, but who knows? Probably be shipwrecked a few more times before we're done.
The occasional shipwreck builds character in an airship. Honestly, it can't be called an adventurer's airship until it has crashed at least once or twice.
Taro kind of purses his lips a little bit.
I would rather it not crash at all if we can avoid it.
Well, I certainly don't crash things on purpose. Okay. I wouldn't crash this airship on purpose.
Not unless there was a giant threatening dragon that needed to be crushed into, I'm sure. I would not advise trying to crash into a dragon. They are very agile in the air.
They also can't be killed by non-god things, so it'd be a waste of a perfectly good ship.
Alas, I suppose that is true.
Unless we find very many relic swords and stick them to the forward-facing mast and then run straight into them with, multiple deity weapons, that might do something, but that also seems
Overcomplicated.
not prudent.
Better just jump off the ship and attack it directly.
In midair? It happens a lot more than you think. I am sure that it does.
Well, Jaeger leapt off the ship with only a rope attached to attack a rock. And there have been other situations recently.
You can see that while Elaine and Taro are not entirely keen on the idea of vaulting off of ships, Vera is considering the potential applications.
Well, that's the ship. And we don't have much more to do in the city, unfortunately. The big thing will be the Lord's Alliance meeting.
Indeed. I suppose I can use this downtime before the meeting to see to a bit of research. At least there's plenty of time to train before the meeting as well. Elaine is nodding thoughtfully. I suppose it would be best to draw up a list of things that we wish to raise to the assembled leaders. Wow, I swapped his accent. To raise to the assembled leaders and prepare any particular responses. I'm excited. This is going to be a very good meeting. I mean, historically, the Noraki and the Skyhammer Dwarves don't always get along, but you know, the warlord, the Mathia is changing. It is time for new things.
Wonderful. While you're doing that, Vera, would you like to do some shenanigans?
Always?
How would you feel about a disguise spell?
I am intrigued.
Let's steal Alistair's glasses then.
Vera is grinning. Her brother looks concerned.
We're gonna go steal Alistair's disguise glasses.
Going to go steal Alistair's disguise glasses.
Checks out.
All right. So you head back to the fort. Want to check in real quick with Kanane and Jaeger. What are you guys doing this evening?
Jaeger really doesn't have anything to do while he's waiting for the weapon to be, drawn up and made. He should probably go ask the people with the money for money.
Get some money.
So Alistair, Thay, and of course everyone else, I've totally forgot that I'm broke. Somebody want to spot me however much this explosive weapon is going to cost?
Oh, did you quote them? Did they quote you?
No, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot. It's an explosive weapon. And I have, let's see, and he looks through his bag. I have some wolf teeth, some rations. I have a chess piece. I think they like chess.
Are you certain that they're not intent on providing this mighty weapon to a mighty hero who liberated them at gratis?
I hadn't considered that.
Also, why wouldn't Alistair? Isn't there just a rune you can put on a weapon to make it explode?
Oh heavens, no! The production of arcane items takes time and care and
Right, you can't
planning.
You can't just slap like a thunder rune on it or something.
No.
I have a wyvern tooth with a finger.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
carry the
why do you
money.
have a figure?
Well, I mean, right. So, I share your lamentations about not carrying currency on you. There is the coffers of the company, and currently, well, gosh, how much of that would be mine? No, it's for the company. So currently, the company has over 5,000 gold pieces worth of sorted, shiny metals that can be used for turning in for goods and services. Certainly, if an allowance is needed, one can be provided.
To be fair, this weapon would benefit all of the company. And to be fair again, they haven't given a quote. So
They certainly haven't given a quote, have they?
I suppose this is just me warning you that I may ask.
Oh, right, certainly. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they would be wanting more than 5,000 gold pieces worth of gold and assorted shinies.
Right, try to talk them into goods and services. Or rather, services first, but, I trust you.
I mean,
can do that.
Can you really put a price tag on the liberation of their people from the gods who, ruin them?
I'm sure they'll try. But I'll do my level best. Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing, Doctor.
Cool.
Kanani's
Kanani.
probably gonna go find Alistair.
Alistair, you would have been shown to a forge space within the fort. And that is where Konane would find you.
Alrighty. Yeah, and I think there was like a helper who may or may not be helping.
That was turned down on account of trade secrets.
Fair enough.
But you do have NPC access.
To have NPC access. I don't think there are any NPCs that are tool users. That is to say, I don't think any of them share my proficiencies.
Depends on the kind of tool you're looking for.
Probably a combination of tinkers and jewelers' tools.
I would say that out of all the NPCs currently at your disposal, I think Taro would have some familiarity with, while not like 100% tool, 100% tinker or jewelers, those kinds of tools he'd be familiar with. Just fine, delicate instruments for doing this kind of work he would be familiar with.
That's perfectly fine. I don't actually need a yeah, I'm not actually going to need an assistant for this, since after the maths and the bracers, it should be something that I can knock out within an hour, and I can't reduce it any more than that.
There you go.
There we go. So yeah, I will take this as a teaching opportunity for Kanani, who seems to be very interested in how Alistair does what he does. So instead of 1 hour, I'm going to take 3 hours. Basically, nightcap. I'm going to finish my evening to do it slowly. not only to articulate what I'm doing, but also to shoot the shit and chat and talk and carefully show what I'm doing, but also take the time to make it very elegant, make it as elegant and as pretty as I can. I'm going to take inspiration from, I have their names right here.
I just had a thought. Did you choose your lantern to light up blue, or was that something that just happened?
That's something I just flavored that way.
Make hers light up green.
There's an idea. So yeah, I'll take inspiration from the Stabbers, Katie, Ellie, and Tilly, and that kind of like Eastern influence. Make it look like a magic lamp.
Oh, cool. I'm going to say, since you're taking your time with this, go ahead and make your roll with advantage.
All right, cool. One moment. Going to knock off the requisite gold from the company funds. Knocked off the gold from the company funds. Heaven or hell, let's rock. All right, so I have to... The first roll was a 19. Second roll was not a nat 20. So we are looking at Tinker's Tools. That's going to be my dex.
Honestly, the total from all your bonuses doesn't really matter because it's going to be obscene.
It's obscene.
You can tally them up if you want to see the big number, but you're basically just rolling at this point to see if you get a crit or a critical failure.
Neither a critical hit nor a critical fail. It simply is.
It is simply a success, but still a very imaginative success.
We are, if nothing else, imaginative.
In absolutely no time at all, you are able to produce a magic lamp of revealing to give as a gift to the Queen Bean of the Goblins.
Excellent. I think, let's see, before the night is over, because Alistair's going to work from... We got here at like 8, so probably wouldn't start working until like 10. Finish at around 1.
Sounds good.
And still too awake to go to bed. I hope Say is done relaxing. Because Alistair is going to want to hand it over to Say to have Say deliver it to Bean, because Say and Bean have rapport.
You want to have her deliver it to the Queen Bean at 1 a.m?
No, for her to hold on to give to Bean later. And, I don't know, upsell it. Not upsell, but like the pomp and circumstance associated with dealing with a queen.
I'm just curious if Alistair is he pushing to give this to Say like now at 1 a.m?
I'm assuming that Say is awake, and if not, then this is a morning project.
Yeah, Kanani is gonna convince Alistair to maybe wait until the morning because...
Thank you, Konane.
Oh my god, no, please do it now. It's amazing. That's the best choice.
Roll for it.
Konane rolling persuasion versus... Yeah, I don't even know what Alistair's bullheadedness might be.
Con?
You do not want to roll against my con.
Please, roll for autism, please.
Yeah,
That is-
Kanani's gonna try and convince him. What am I rolling against, Rob?
Yeah, Rob, you figure it out.
So you're trying to persuade. Alistair is clearly excited.
Yep.
Dex.
His dex to get away.
You might win.
Wisdom?
I mean, insight's usually that's the go-to breakthrough.
Yeah,
insight
that-
versus.
That feels like the most appropriate.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right. Oh my god.
Is that a nat one?
No, it's a nat 20.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, Rob, you could roll a nat 20, and
Rolled a
it's the end
4.
of the night, so
I rolled a 4, even with
You
my.
could use
just...
one in the pool.
Use the last one, bro.
All right.
I just put one in there.
All right. I can't use 2 in the pool, and that was a 9. So
He tried. Kanani convinced him of her softness, and then he gave in.
fine. I guess she's probably asleep. She could use to sleep, I guess. I'm not tired though. You made me go to sleep, and now I'm not tired. This is bogus. I hate it.
I can make you tired.
No.
Is that a challenge?
I don't even. You're just making mouth words at this point.
She's gonna grab him.
I think that is a great moment to end the night on,
Okay, we get an eep.
with an eep.
We end with an eep. Sorry, Say, I couldn't break up your date again.
Not for lack of trying.
Not for lack of trying, but there's no way I'm gonna break a nat 20.
I know, I just thought it'd be hilarious.
Fuck everything. I'm so upset.
I'm sorry that Kanani is more powerful.
Going to bed angry.
All right, so that will do it for tonight's game. Since there is only, let's see here, 3 days to the summit, and not a whole lot of pressing things to do in town, I am content to skip ahead in the next game to the dawn of the final day. And
We did
If-
we did skip Say's shenanigans.
oh yeah, there was the shenanigans. I wanted to circle back to the shenanigans. Oh, shenanigans. I don't mind adding a little epilogue to tonight.
Okay.
If everyone's okay with that.
I'm here. Let's do this.
I've stuck around this far.
Yep.
I have nothing to do tomorrow at work, so if I nap and miss a call, no one's gonna.
As I dislodge Toby for the upteenth time.
Just
All right.
give in. Check Gen Chat. This is what you have to do. Just give in.
Yeah. Check Gen Chat.
All right, Say, what was your plan?
Okay, so we're gonna take the glasses of disguise from Alistair. And yes, taking those. Vera's gonna get attuned to those.
Okay, easily done.
Oh man. I don't think she could pass off as a Mareki. I think she could actually. It's more Mareki than Say. Is it all Mareki and or goblins, or do we have some Marini like hanging out? Some like
No Marini, unfortunately. Of the
oh, there's like humans and shit too.
there are humans.
All right. Let's do maybe a half elf, nondescript half elf.
Cindy half elf.
Cindy half elf.
She takes on the appearance of a mousy looking half elf with long brown hair.
Perfect. Right. Let's go play Scrum.
And her face lights up.
We're gonna go play Scrum.
A late night game of Scrum.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, oh god. I mean, there's. Okay, so this time of night. I mean, there's always rotating elven.
shifts. Elves only trance 4 hours a night.
Yeah.
They have dark vision. Like.
And you've already established that there are Scrum players out among the fort. And a makeshift pitch right around that area too. Yeah, definitely possible. Y'all also like firmly dominated the other day.
I mean, Sei would try to pull off her "I'm just a normal Moreki," guys, but I don't think that she can pull that off anymore. I think that she's used that as much as she can, and now she is easily recognizable as...
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, if she's going to play, then the other team gets like a 2-person handicap immediately.
Yeah.
They don't think very much of Vera, and seeing that my cat just opened my laundry pantry.
He's hungry.
Oh.
He wants socks.
He wants linens, apparently. He stared at me and then jumped up onto one of the shelves and is now gone. Yeah, seeing that you don't have your crew with you and just this one mousy little half elf, yeah, they're all right. They're willing to commit to a 4-on-2 game with you. The handicap being pretty much against you rather than her. Now, as far as roles go, I think I'd like to kind of see what Vera manifests in Scrum. You are a heroic character who already did really well against them. So when the game actually starts, they're going to spend more time guarding you, making sure that you don't get a hold of the ball as much as they can. As I pull up Vera's stats. All right, let's set the tone for this game, and let's just see what kind of role Vera gets by focusing on her acrobatics. She's going to use one in the pool.
I was about to say, Vera.
This is just the warm up. This is just the warm up. All right, now, Sei, give me a quick acrobatics check as well. As you're complimenting her on the pitch. Yeah, that feels good. All right,
That feels
now
awful, but okay.
it feels good for the start of the game at least. Getting warmed up, especially going into a game that she doesn't know very much about. You and her are similar in that you are both quick, you are both agile. You are more bullheaded than she is when it comes to the game, though. So, where you are more inclined to charge an opposing player, she prefers to move around them, to dodge and juke to the side. And with 2-on-1, both of you getting such high scores right off the bat, It's the first round is it's close. The handicap making up for the difference in skills, but you do score that first point. And for Vera, who finds this now understands the game, is much more inclined to give it more of a go on the second pass. Now, in the second round of the game, let's start off with a roll from you just to see how would you like to initiate the second round now that you guys are warmed up. Yeah, very good acrobatics. All right, Vera. Oh, she's getting some low roll. All right, you're the carry this time. Between the two of you, you actually outperform her as two of the Mareki end up ganging up on her instead of you. And they make it difficult enough to where with the 29, you're able to secure that ball off the bat, but trying to pass it over to her, it gets intercepted and they score a point. Which only serves to make Vera angry. Oh, this is going to be interesting. All right, let's do one more round.
Ouch, 20.
That's an even bigger ouch, but hold on a second. We can't like this. Vera, what do you got here? Okay, it's not noted here for some reason, but I know that she has that she's a monk. She's got that dash as a bonus action thing.
Step of the wind?
Step of the wind, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you. I'm checking. Yeah, I'm going to say that God, even with the step of wind, getting up past a 9 isn't great. Yeah, this she was doing pretty well in the first go of the match, but then as they started shifting their attention to cover her, realizing that she is a green player at this kind of game, she finds it harder to play within the bounds of the game. Yeah, the opposing team scores a point, but they are. She calls out the fact that playing 4-on-2 is pretty one-sided, and do they really need that many people to make them feel man enough to win against a couple of girls? Essentially, the Mareki are very egalitarian. But the idea that seeing how they've been able to get ahead in these last 2 rounds have made them a little comfortable. So they'll play another round with the two of you, and they're going to drop down a player.
Okay.
3 versus 2. Why don't you go ahead and lead us off? Oh, there's Step in the Wind. 25 is a good one. I'm afraid to roll for her. All right, what do you got, Vera? All right, there we go. She is a lot more focused this round as the two of you sync up and quickly overcome those three players who believe this is a fluke. Like, you can't just... Like, okay, that guy left his guard down, and Say was able to dodge around behind him, and Vera juked the one that was guarding her. Like, you can't do that again. So the game is tied 2-2.
All right.
Expertise, man. Fucking expertise.
No, I just have a plus 13 to acrobatics. Oh yeah.
Yeah, from yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was something else. I thought that was the. Yeah.
I was just double checking Vera's abilities, and she does have a spell she could use if she gets really annoyed, but she knows this is a physical game, and she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to let Say down. Vera, don't let Say down.
Nice.
Not only does she not let you down, Say, the two of you are in perfect sync on the last play of the game. This has drawn a smaller crowd of people, since it's just a small scrum game, but with the last round of the game, you pass to her, she pulls ahead, passes to you. The two of you actually take a moment to prove your athleticism around these three Mareki and kind of weave between the three of them before you pass the ball to Vera to give her the pleasure of the final scoring point of the game. It's a lot closer than either of you thought it would be, but for the other Mareki at least, it felt a lot more... They didn't feel like they were getting stomped. This felt like a much more balanced game. And in the wake of your victory, you get a few more congratulations and more enthusiastic admiration than you had when all of Valor Company was just embarrassing the shit out of these guardsmen.
Oh, good, because a close game was actually Say's goal, as she's going to talk to one of the... people there. I would assume there's someone of a decent-ish rank.
Yeah, there's like non-commissioned officers. There's none of the higher upper command, but
A non-commissioned officer is exactly what she's looking for. My frontiers have never had Mareki food, and I was hoping perhaps we could join your mess this evening.
he kind of looks at you askance briefly. You want to share military rations with your friend?
I want to share a Mareki mess with my friend.
He inclines his head slightly.
I'm not going to be home for a very long time.
He inclines his head, and you see there's a expression on his face of, you might be kind of an outsider to them these days, but there is that shared experience of serving, and he recognizes that, and even this far from home, the mess is still kind of it's a little taste of home, so to speak.
Yeah. We don't have to roleplay it all out, but Say's basically going to give Vera a taste of Mareki culture as best she can.
I like it. It's a very interesting date night. By the end of it, Vera is definitely fatigued and in a pleasant mood. And curious about what else these glasses can do. I think that's where we're going to end it.
That sounds good.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for playing tonight and sticking around for a little shenaniganery epilogue.
Yeah, thanks for humoring me, guys.
For sure,
It
absolutely.
was cute as hell.
Super cute.
In this game of Scrum, Say and Vera are worth each 1.75 Mareki.
I like the idea that Vera takes on this mousy humanoid appearance and then just dances around these Mareki in a game of football.
Football.
That'd be a hilarious picture to see.
It's cute shit.
Cute shit.
It's good. Good shit, cute shit.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for game. I
Thank you
will.
for running game.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cute session. This was fun.